Hello, dividend executives. Welcome back. Today, I'm coming with a 1-month review on margin investing. As you guys know, about a month ago, I decided to take the plunge to jump into QDTE and XDTE, and I did it all on margin. I pulled out about $10,000 worth of margin. I want to go over 1 month of that journey. Was it worth it? Is my total return worth it? Did I make more money in my dividend yield than the interest I was actually paying to Robinhood? Should I size up? What my plans are, where I'm sitting in margin as of right now, and what yields did I receive? So first things first, let's take a look at it. You know, this is my dividend account. I've been scaling it up. I started it last year from zero, and we are going to continue building this account. This week was pretty good, up $3,127. As you know, I have a lot of crypto assets in here, along with my high yield dividend ETFs, and we saw a big pullback when Bitcoin came down, and now we are starting to recover, so that is very nice. So up 3,000 for the week, or 13.5%, mostly due to BITO, and then we got assigned 500 shares of CleanSpark down here, $4,750. We did get assigned on those. We rolled them for quite a while, but I think it's going to come back. So right now we are assigned those. We're just going to sell calls at our cost basis and hopefully get back to cash there. But no worries. So this is where we're sitting in the account. We have $9,746 worth of buying power. But I want to talk about QDTE and XDTE and the margin I paid and how it is looking. So if we scroll back, they do it in a monthly increment. You pay weekly. But if we go all the way back to about August 6th, August 10th, this is where I started the margin investing on QDTE and XDTE. So you can see here, our first dividend payment on August 2nd, we came in with QDTE and XDTE at $32, $16.81. Then the following week, we started reinvesting on DRIP, $20, $30, that's combined to $50. The following week, $35 and $23.65. And then August 23rd, $47.74 on QDTE, XDTE, $31.66. The following week, so awesome to see these come in every week, $39, $34. And then this is the last week to round it off for that month's worth of interest. And that was $42.29 on QDTE, XDTE, $41.73. So we're looking at that date range mostly because if we look at the margin, let's see how we actually did, right? So on this, whoops, that's not it. Let me scroll all the way up here. $48.50. You can see I've used a little bit of margin here and there, not a whole lot. $5, $10, $13, $20. And then, yeah, I mean, on this $5, we're talking about $900, right? So nothing huge, probably just assigned puts are there. But this is where we went up. You can see the significant increase. And here's the date range, August 10th through September 9th. That is what we're looking at. Now, the 9th of September was just a few days ago. And we use, on average, $8,622.35 worth of margin over that time period. Like I said, we ratcheted it up to about $10,000, but because there were some days we weren't using any margin at all, that's why the average is about $8,622. Now, the interest rate right now is 6.75. Keep in mind, I did this because I think interest rates are going to come down. We have an actual interest rate decision coming up here next week, I believe on the 18th. And so it's 100% right now being predicted that the interest rates are going to come down. It's just whether it's a factor of 0.25 bips or 0.5. So we shall see. But as that interest rate continues to come down, the amount I pay in interest will continue to come down as well. Now, if I go obviously up in margin, then things are going to change. So I want you to keep those numbers in mind. But I paid $48.50 in total interest for the entire month for using that. So then you look at it and you say, okay, you took $10,000 worth of margin, you paid $48.50. So if you don't make more than $48.50, you have literally just wasted your time and your money. So, well, let's take a look at it. Let's look at the numbers. You just saw in here what we are actually getting in terms of dividends and what our share counts are. So let's run the numbers. Let's look at it. Let's see if we came out ahead, if we didn't come out ahead, if we should continue this journey, and if we should bring up the amount. So But first things first, I do want to show you this. So if anybody is using margin, just a disclaimer, be super careful with it. If you don't have funds in other accounts or in your checking account to cover margin or to sell assets, definitely I wouldn't mess with it. But for me, I'm not too worried about it. My margin buffer right now is 42.75%. My goal is to try to keep that above 30%. I'm using $17,000, basically $18,000 worth of margin, but that is mostly because, like I showed you with CleanSpark, I got assigned on a put, and then I bought another 100 shares to average down my costs a little bit. And so with that play, that added about $5,000 to the margin balance. And so I plan to get out of that in the next month and a half at max as the crypto assets continue to pull back, or to continue to come back. Then I will get back out of that portion of the margin. So that will reduce, but I'm selling covered calls every single week. You saw me in the plays this week. I made $10 over the last 3 days just selling a saved covered call, and that'll pay for the margin itself on just that 5K. So keep that in mind. So if we review these details, again, 30% is the buffer I want. I have a nice $11,200 buffer as of right now. Right now, I'm paying 6.75. If you use more margin, you pay less interest. These are the rates as of today. If I went up to 50K, obviously I'm sitting at 6.55%, so you pay a little less. This did used to be 2K of free interest. They brought it back down to 1K. I do have Robinhood Gold, so that is a free $1,000 of margin right there that I'm not paying any interest on. And right now I'm paying, let's see. Yeah, so right now I'm paying, I think it's around $3 a day. Yeah, $3.18 is my daily rate. So not too bad, honestly, when you times that by 30, really not too bad. So that's on 17,000. So I just wanted to show you that full transparency of how much margin we have in the account, what we're using it for, and what we plan to do. So let's jump into the spreadsheet. As always, I do want to show you XDTE and QDTE. Last month in August, we made $184.88 on QDTE, XDTE 126. This month so far, $87.30 on XDTE, and then on QDTE 101.80. But I really want to show you the comparison. So if we jump in here, these are the numbers I wanted to look at, and if it's going to be worth it, right? So if you look at my QDTE and XDTE position so far, QDTE has paid me $285.96. XDTE has paid me $214.08. And then I have those shares on drip. You don't see this week 7, which is the payout that I got on Friday. You don't see that filled out yet because the way Robinhood works is my dividends will reinvest on Monday. And so tomorrow I'll get the updated numbers. It'll buy a share. But you can see obviously QDT is going to buy over a share on drip on Monday. And XDT will be just under 1 share. So not too bad there. I took this all the way to here, and the actual weeks that we paid margin, obviously the first week wasn't, and the one we just got paid in is in a total different margin payment. So those are going to be reported on another day. But the total margin interest was $48.50. The dividends received between those time periods, like I said, you can see the sum feature of just row 4 through 8. $346. So the total net after margin was $297.83. I reinvested those. So I didn't take any of that cash. I reinvested it back into that. But if you were to take that same thing and I paid, let's say I paid that same interest rate on that same 10K, and QDT paid out that exact same rate for those 4 weeks or 5 weeks going forward, I would have an annualized gain of $3,574 over the margin. Now, some people may say, well, you're going to pay taxes. Keep in mind, these funds, the Roundhill funds, as of right now, are return on capital. So you do not get taxed until, at least from what I understand, you do not get taxed until you receive your initial investment back. And then anything after that is obviously short-term capital gains. Even then, if you wanted to account for taxes on a 25 or 30% mark, then you could take out another portion of that. But still, we're coming out way ahead, right? You can see that just that $48.50, I mean, really just one and a half weeks of one of these investments is going to pay for the entire month's worth of interest. If you were to take this week, the 30 and the 20, that's $50. That 1 week of QDT and XDT paid the entire month margin, right? So it's so far, it's really good. If you want to look at the total return, a lot of people say, well, the NAV, you're going to lose all your money with these funds. Well, right now I'm actually up on my total return. It's not a whole lot, but again, these are not growth stocks. They are made for income. So my total return as of right now on QDTE, I am down $170. I've made $285 worth of dividends. And so my actual total return is $115. I'm up on my actual investment on QDTE, and I'm up on my investment on XDTE. These are the numbers. This is the real stuff. If you're down, this is the total return, right? This is what I'm actually looking at. And same thing with XDT. I'm down $65 on my actual shares. I've received $214 in dividends. I'm up $150 or $149. So both QDT and XE total return for me are up, which is really good to see. I don't know if that's going to hold up, but so far I'm just sharing my journey. I'm 7 weeks into this. I'm going to continue to increase this until I see that the numbers don't make sense. But for right now, if 1 week out of 4 weeks, it only takes 1 week to pay my interest for the entire month, and the other 3 weeks are profit, then I'm gonna continue running it as the numbers. So these are the numbers. I borrowed $10,000 to buy QDT and XDT. This is what it looks like. This is what it would look like annually if I were to just let this run and run its course. And like I said, I think interest rates are coming down, which means I will pay less margin. The money is going to be cheaper to borrow from Robinhood, and I think this may be a good way to scale some high yield dividend portfolios. So that's the update for today. I wanted to run through the numbers. I wanted to show you what we were looking at, what all the numbers actually look like. And I'm so close to 7,000 subscribers. If you're not subscribing and you watch my content every week, please subscribe. So close. Like I said, I think I have 20 more followers to go. So if you haven't hit it already, if not, hit the like button. Thank you, everybody. As always, happy investing, and we will catch you next week.